Aloha! Welcome back to another episode on the Healthy Wisdom series with Dr. Jen Chen. Okay, Healthy Wisdomers, today we're going to explore the 9th guiding principle to good governance and how it applies to our lives. And with this principle, I'm hoping that it'll bring some positive meaning to our day-to-day lives. So the 9th principle is the principle of service. And the definition reads, the board is a servant in service to all key stakeholders, beginning with management and employees, through to clients, shareholders, communities, and others. And in parentheses, it says, do they have what they need? So the first thing that I did was I looked up the definition for service. And it means action of helping or doing something for someone. In other words, it's an act of helpful activity. So here's my question to you. Who are you in service to? Because each person in our lives will play a part in this tapestry of events, right, that we so call life. So it's really important to realize that in our day-to-day interactions, we're interacting with a lot of different people, whether it's at work, in your family, at the grocery store. We are constantly in other people's presence, and perhaps either we are in service to others or others are in service to us. So there's a clear exchange that happens in our day-to-day lives. So one of the principles that I was introduced to that I really believe is important to keep in mind is this. We should try to, at least, we should aspire to have a passion to serve over a compulsion to survive. Let me repeat that. We should have the passion to serve over the compulsion to survive. It's as simple as that. Truthfully, if we make this the guiding principle that we live and operate from, I am certain that our lives will have true meaning and the rewards could be endless because we're serving others and helping them grow. And as a result, we will help ourselves grow because that exchange is constantly happening. So I asked myself, what are the 3 key questions that we can ask ourselves to help us set up this framework of getting into the mindset of how we can become a better person of service to others? So the first question that I ask myself on my reflections that I do on a monthly basis is, what do people need from me daily that they have not asked for? That is, what do people need from me on a daily basis that they have not asked for? So there are 3 points that I've come up with this month, and it's that if people want to be heard, I listen to their concerns, to their problems, to their pains. I share their joy, their happy celebrations. So I listen. And if people want to feel good about themselves, because we all know that in our society, quite a lot of times, people don't have that sort of cheerleader in their lives. So if they need to and want to feel good about themselves, I actually pay them a compliment. It really doesn't cost me anything, but it could make a huge difference in somebody's life because maybe that's the only time in the day that they actually get a compliment. Because a lot of times people don't even compliment themselves. And so if we could be that light in somebody's life and actually pay them a little compliment, that could really change their day. It could even change their week. It could change their month even. And the third one that I thought about was if people want to feel recognized. I give them credit. And I say that from the context of my employees, for example. Recognition, appreciation is so important and so lacking in our society most of these days, that, again, it doesn't cost us anything. Give them the credit. Let them shine. It could make a huge difference in their day to day. And at the end of the day, we work together as a team. You know, there was a bunch of um, restaurant, I guess, customers that were in the patio where we had dim sum a couple weeks ago. And it was interesting to observe that a lot of the elders, they would criticize, the smallest things, how their tea is not flavorful enough, so they want to change their teapot and get a new batch of tea leaves in there, or it's overly saucy, or not enough flavor in the food. Like you can tell from the waitress's reaction that it's not something that feels good. And so I don't know. I tried to think of it from their perspective. How would they feel in service to you if all they're getting are comments, negative comments about the food, the tea, the just every little thing about the experience? And so, when we watch the interaction happen, I mean, of course, it's not the best scenario when, the waitress probably doesn't want to respond in the most courteous way. So you can hear it in their tone. And then, of course, then it's almost like a negative cycle. Somebody throws out a negative comment, and then as a result, they get negative service, right? And so what would it cost you if you just maybe complimented someone in a scenario like that? Maybe it's like, okay, the tea didn't taste wonderful. Ask nicely, right? That little bit of courteousness really doesn't hurt anyone, but it could make a world of difference in the service that you receive. So that is one of the questions that I definitely started off with. What do people need from me daily that they have not asked for? The second question that I like to ask myself is, what can I work on that'll help me serve people better? So the three answers that I came up with this month were, I got to get to know what's important to other people. I do, because what's important to them, and if I acknowledge that and I help them with whatever's important to them, then at the end of the day, I am doing them a great service by acknowledging what's important to them. A lot of times we don't acknowledge each other in this world, and it's a shame. But if we all can do a little bit more, then I believe we can slowly change this cycle of negativity, especially, during this pandemic where there's just a lot of fear and negative sort of anxiety that's going around, So get to know what's important to people and try to acknowledge that and help them, address what's important to them. And that kind of flows into be genuinely interested in others, in their life, in their pain. That's, I think, in the very, very least that we can do for people. And last but not least, I said to myself, listen with intention. It's really hard to find good listeners nowadays because we are so distracted by the big and small things, and it really is so valuable if we are able to listen with intent and be present with whoever it is that we are in a room with, whoever it is that we are on the phone with, even virtually. If we're having a conversation virtual meeting wise, it is so valuable to be able to be present and to be listening with intent. And the third question is, how can I inspire others to want to serve others? I think that kind of is sort of the premise of today's episode. And I'm hoping that I can inspire you guys to want to serve others. And by sharing this framework of these 3 questions, I'm hoping that we can actually encourage and hopefully continue down that positive path. So one of the things that I wrote down that I actually learned this from Dr. John Maxwell, really, really cool, is one of the things that he shared, I believe, that as he grows older, what are the things that he would like to be known for? And I actually picked out the 4 that I personally would love to be known for. And the first one is, as I grow older, I'd like to be known for being generous instead of being rich. I want to be known as a good listener and not just a good communicator. I want to be known to be loving instead of being quick and bright. And I want to be known as thoughtful rather than gifted. Those 4 qualities I zeroed in on, and I thought, wow, how rich my life would be if I could serve people from that light. And how can I perhaps inspire people to want to serve from that perspective? I think that would fill me up. Like, my cup would be so full if I knew that I had played a small, small part in inspiring others to want to serve others. All right, Healthy Wisdomers, it's been a pleasure sharing this episode with you guys, and I want to thank you guys for all the support. Please take a minute to subscribe, follow, and rate this episode so we can share this wisdom with everyone around us, and let's invite them to join us on this journey. This is the Healthy Wisdom series with Dr. Jen Chen. I'll catch you guys next week.